Well, guys, we were warning people that Donald Trump was going to make a whole bunch of different messes, and then he was going to come in behind everything and try to take credit for cleaning it all up. And that is exactly what we are seeing. Let's just remember that Donald Trump was handed an economy that was an envy of the world. He came into office, he implemented national emergencies to give himself the unilateral authority to implement these tariffs, and then he started going crazy with all of these tariffs for countries around the world. Whether you are a friend or a foe, Donald Trump would implement tariffs, then he would pause them again. We move forward to Liberation Day. They used this absurd formula to come up with these astronomically high tariffs. Those were implemented for a couple hours before Donald Trump blinked yet again and retreated from those. He moved everything to about a 10% tariff for most countries, and then he ratcheted up China tariffs to 145%. And now that there is a 90-day pause on most of these tariffs between China and the United States, Donald Trump wants to take credit for this supposed win. But this is not even close to a win when you are the guy who is creating the mess. And I want to go ahead and take a look at this panel from CNN because, of course, the MAGA chuds like Scott Jennings are trying to tout this as some sort of win for Donald Trump, saying that he's just a master negotiator. And we just need to go through and debunk all of this nonsense. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first clip. Here is Seth Moulton saying that Donald Trump just does not get credit for cleaning up his own mess. If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
That's accurate. That is what the Republican-led Congress is doing, is absolutely nothing. We're legislating on reducing regulations for walk-in refrigerators. That's the kind of stuff that we vote on right now. And actually, I think the public would like us to have a say in tariff policy. I mean, I don't think that Trump gets a lot of credit for cleaning up his own mess. You know, my 4-year-old gets credit if she cleans up her own mess, but the president, not so much. What are we actually getting here? Donald Trump is weak on China, is the bottom line. He's weak on China. He's been weak on China for a long time. And look, I've got no quibble with the Chinese people, but the Chinese Communist Party, yeah, like I don't like it when they're stealing our ideas and our businesses. I don't like it when they're trying to start a war over Taiwan. I don't like it when they disappear people who disagree with the regime. Although maybe that's where Trump finds some companionship with Xi Jinping, the same way he has a bromance with Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, so he's exactly right. Donald Trump has access to the most information in the world. He had experts around him, I'm sure, that was telling him that these tariffs were going to be devastating for the United States. But because he has no understanding of how trade deficits work, because he has no understanding of how tariffs actually work, he just wanted to go ahead and move forward with them. And now we are seeing this economic turmoil that didn't even need to happen. And I think the other thing that Seth Moulton says here that is very important is that we are weak on China right now. For the first time in a long time, China is now seen as a positive force in the world, and the United States is not. And we see countries all around the world, they are trying to work around the United States as far as their trading partners, because now we're just unreliable. China looks like the reliable partner. So you might disagree with their politics or the way that they run their country, but they don't have a leader who's going in and implementing 100% tariffs because he just has a weird infatuation with tariffs. It is just absolutely devastating to our reputation on the world stage. But don't worry, guys. Scott Jennings says that we aren't weak on China, okay?
This whole idea that he's weak on China, did you not read the news about what Secretary Bessent found out in these meetings, that during the Biden administration, the Chinese officials said, yeah, we knew we could ignore Biden. We could ignore whatever agreements we had because he was too weak and would never, ever stand up to us or stop us. Now they've been drugged to the table by a strong American president. And for all the talk from China, from Beijing, oh, we're going to outlast the Americans. We're fortified to outlast the Americans. A few days into this, they're in Switzerland, cutting the beginnings of a deal that's going to be good for the United States, admitting some of the things that they have to admit in order to get a more balanced situation with us. This is a total win for the president, and it's a total win for the rock star Scott Bessent, who goes overseas and pulls an amazing rabbit out of a hat. But do not forget, they told him we ignored Biden because he was so weak and we could afford to do it.
You know, they will take any opportunity they can to drag Biden right back in to all of these conversations. What Scott Jennings doesn't realize is that it was the United States who was reaching out to China to try to make some sort of deal, or at least some sort of truce, so we could move forward. This was all Donald Trump's doing. He implemented the 145% tariffs. China held strong, and they said, we're not budging. You guys need to figure your shit out, or we're not coming to the table. And then you've got the Trump administration crawling on bended knee to go meet with China, and so they come to the table. So Scott Bessent, he's just kind of the cleanup guy. You've got the toddler in the White House who is implementing all of these insane tariffs, and then Scott Bessent has to go out there and play cleanup. It is just absolutely insane. This is not a win for Donald Trump. This is not a win for the United States. We still have 10% at least tariffs on China right now. There's a few industries where those tariffs are even higher. So again, this is just all a mess that Donald Trump created. This is a whole bunch of economic turmoil, uncertainty that we didn't need to have to deal with. But because Donald Trump has a weird infatuation with these things called tariffs, this is what we're going through. This is all Donald Trump's fault. And here's Natasha Sarin, I believe is her name, and she's actually breaking down some of the numbers of these idiotic tariffs.
So let's just start with some numbers about where we are today relative to where we were on Friday. So today we have effective tariff rates in this country. The budget lab at Yale that I ran the numbers of 17% inclusive of this deal. When President Trump took office in January, effective tariff rates were 2.5%. Kevin's right. These are consumption taxes. They're going to be borne by low and middle income people who are going to see prices increase by an average $2,800 price increases for a family as a result of these tariffs that are in place. And 30% tariffs on China are lower than 145%, but they are still extremely, extremely high. And they are high on literally everything that the American people buy. So I think that if this is the framework for how we expect these trade deals to go going forward, I think we're in a place where things aren't actually going that well from the perspective of a trade war that we've launched. Though I want to agree with Scott, I think we actually have to give Secretary Bessent a fair bit of credit because he understood that we were in a position that was fundamentally untenable, and he started the process of trying to retreat. But it's a mistake to say that the administration has gotten anything from that retreat. I mean, a lot of what you said, Kevin, you said rumors and innuendo. I haven't heard anything about IP or anything about access to courts as a result of this deal.
Yeah, and she's exactly right. There has been nothing that is ironclad that was gotten out of these deals when it comes to the Donald Trump end of the deal. Nothing happened. They just paused the tariffs. China agreed to pause their tariffs. I mean, they've got nothing substantial. And again, this is only a 90-day pause. And what she says here is very, very important. Before Donald Trump came into office, the average tariff rate was a 2.5%. And now because Donald Trump is in office, that has climbed after this truce was put into place. Now it's over 17%, which is still just astronomically high. And who does that impact? It impacts the lower income people, right? Because they are paying more of a percentage of their income to just get by. And so if you've got toilet paper, if you've got food, if you've got Christmas presents, all the prices are raising up. You are now spending more of your money, and it's not going as far because Donald Trump decided he wanted to implement these tariffs and get nothing in return. This is going to impact the low and middle income people the most. And I think everybody needs to remember that. These are they're just so stupid. And Donald Trump just doesn't seem to have a care in the world that it will be the people who are on the lower end of the income spectrum that are going to be impacted most by this. Here's Ashley Allison just saying, well, you can call it a win if you want, but this was all self-inflicted.
I also remember being at this table and saying we have to stick it to China because they're our greatest national security threat. And I don't see how this deal actually plays into our favor in protecting our country anymore. The bottom line is that the tariffs were rolled out. They should have been rolled out better. This is not the first pause. The reason why it's pausing is because the headlines were not working in Donald Trump's favor. We have reporting from inside White House staff saying this to reporters at our own network, that he did not like the reporting, was afraid of no food on shelves, and people didn't like just being able to buy $2 if they wanted to buy 10, and so he needed to do something. So call it a win if you want, but the cost of living for Americans is still going to go up.
Don't take my word for it. Don't take Mr. Wonderful's word for it. Take the market's word for it today. They know it's a win. They know we're in a better position. They know we're in a better position.
It only had to do that, and it only rebounded because for the last, so many days since April 2nd, it's been in total instability because of
we're ahead
Donald
of where
Trump.
we were.
Again, we knew they were going to do this, right? Look at actually, let me pull that chart back up. Look at the market right here, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You see, January 21st, it starts to go down. We've got a few big dips in there, and now it's starting to creep back up. And now all of the MAGA folks want to declare this as some sort of win. But if Donald Trump just kind of left things in place, he let things chug along like they were going, I mean, we'd be up, probably close to 47, 48,000 in the Dow right now. But instead, we're not even back over to where he started in the market. It is just all insane. These people just do not seem to get it. And what's really pernicious about the whole thing is that, look at the markets. The markets responded favorably, so this must be a win. Well, of course, they're going to see this as a win. Tariffs were 145%, which is just the most insane thing that anybody can conceive of. So when you drop those down to 30% over this, 90-day pause, then of course people are going to be much more willing to work with that. But there's still all of this uncertainty. It's only a pause. There is no real trade deal that has been agreed to. So that means that businesses still have all of this uncertainty that they have to deal with. How are they supposed to make hiring decisions? How are they supposed to make investment decisions if in 90 days they don't even know where they're going to be? So again, this is no win for the Trump administration. And I just want to make a really, what's her name? Natasha Sarin makes a really good point here about the only time the market responds favorably is when Donald Trump moves away from his protectionism.
Actually, the market is in a worse place today. That chart is very helpful. The market is in a worse place today than it was on Inauguration Day.
So you're going to pick a date. Where were we on April 2nd? And what was it year over year?
When the market responds positively, it's always when the administration moves away from the Trump administration's focus on protectionism. That's exactly when the market reacts posiotly, and that's what we expect.
What you're not liking is you don't like watching sausage being made, because this administration does something that none other has. Make it all open, make it all transparent. There's going to be volatility, which, by the way, has ended up being an incredible buying opportunity. Just when you're in the guts and concerned about how bad it's going to get, had you bought the market at the dip, you've had a phenomenal year.
Just buy the dip, guys. Just buy the dip. If you bought the dip, you'd be having a phenomenal year right now, says Kevin O'Leary. I mean, what an elitist statement to make. Do you think most people have disposable income that they can just throw into the market when there is a dip in the market? I mean, come on, dude. And what she said here is absolutely true. Anytime the market responds favorably is when Donald Trump is moving away from this protectionism. We have already tried this whole protectionism thing before. We have seen it play out in countries across the globe. It is not a good philosophy. We do not want to... We can use tariffs in strategic ways. I've said this time and time and time again. When you're talking about defense industry stuff, when you're talking about pharmaceutical stuff, those might be really good industries that you want to in-house. But we do not want to be the people who are trying to make every single part and component to every single product out there by ourselves. It's just not how the economy functions. And if you look at, free trade deals, it has unlocked so much prosperity through time here. We have tried this protectionism thing before, and it's just not working. But Donald Trump is, for whatever reason, infatuated with the whole thing. He says, well, we don't need anything from Canada. We don't need anything from Mexico. We don't need anything from Europe. They're screwing us over anyway. I mean, Donald Trump is just a petulant man baby who has no understanding of how free trade is actually supposed to work and how it can actually unlock prosperity for all parties involved. I mean, how many times have we heard Donald Trump say, if we're not importing from China, that means we're saving money? What? When we purchase goods from China, we give them money and we get products in return. But Donald Trump views this as some sort of zero-sum game where we're just handing out trillions of dollars to other nations. So it is all just childish. It should not be taken seriously. Donald Trump has absolutely no idea what he is doing. And he comes into office, he gives himself the unilateral authority to implement these tariffs. Congress kind of rolls over, the Republican Congress kind of rolls over and just gives him that power, even though they should have the ability to check these idiotic tariffs. And he creates a whole bunch of chaos. He injects a whole bunch of uncertainty into the market. The markets crash, trade deals and prices start going up. And then he puts a 90-day pause in place on one of our biggest trading partners, China, and now he's trying to celebrate it as some sort of win. It is just one big joke all the way around. We are an unserious nation. We are the laughingstock of the world right now because we have a petulant toddler in the Oval Office, and he has absolutely no idea what the fuck he is doing. So I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We are trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against the right-wing media ecosystem that just launders all of Donald Trump's bullshit day in and day out. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. It is free. And if you guys want to see how Donald Trump is now targeting Democratic mayors for arrest, yes, that is right. The Newark mayor was arrested by the Trump administration. Go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.